Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX. Hopefully you guys are having a great week. We had a fantastic UK session last night. All the trades from the UK notes panned out very nicely. UK session this morning, or excuse me, the US session this morning, a little bit slow. The markets are a little choppy, and fortunately we're getting really towards the tail end of summer trading, and we're gonna have a look at the charts, but things are looking very consolidated, like there's a big breakout in the works. So we're gonna be ready for that. Just a quick little reminder. Go to the website Day Traders FX and remember to follow us or like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. These are where the updates come. This poor website just does not get updated nearly enough due to time constraints, but I'm very active on Twitter and Facebook in posting daily videos, trade ideas, market updates, all kinds of things. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. Remember, this is all free, and you just nothing gets too spammy, but it'll keep you in touch and in contact with what we're doing and up to date with the latest video updates and so on. So just make sure that you've gone to those three and kind of gotten hooked up there. Okay, quick little look at the US markets. We can see they're closed and everything had a pretty flat day like we were talking about. Pretty flat on the Dow, not much on the S&P. Gold was up and down a little bit. Actually gave us a little bit of a nice spike this morning. We'll talk about that. And oil, pretty much in the same area that it started today. So nothing too significant there. As far as any remaining news that we have coming today, we're all stocked up there. But coming into tomorrow, in the UK session, we have retail sales. This is a big mover. Retail sales for the UK always causes some pretty good activity in the market. So that'll be one thing to keep an eye on. And then we have a couple of reports in the US: building permits, unemployment claims, neither of which are major movers, but they can get the markets going a little bit. So it'll be enough to give us some good trading opportunities. Then we have the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, and then a little bit of news coming out of the PPI a little bit later on from New Zealand. So just keep an eye on those things. Now, as far as the setups go, we have some interesting looking setups here. Our euro dollar trade for the UK notes was just to sell below 123.15. I talked about this in the daily video yesterday and had a final exact entry on this one for the UK notes last night, which was the open below here. And you can see that ran nicely. That was good for a grand total of about 45 pips, but a nice easy 35 pips. So ran down to our lower daily pivot, very nice there. And then things just kind of consolidated and didn't really go anywhere. Now we have remember that below 123.15, sellers are more in control, but we're still above the main level, which is 122.40.50, where buyers still have a chance to kind of take things over and get the markets moving again. So keep an eye. This right here, you can see this is just slightly above 122.40. This is about 122.45. That's the low. That's our Friday low. That is an important level. We can see that nicely right through there. So that's going to be an important, very important level to keep an eye on. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but one thing that we do have here is we watched this morning, the market kept testing it. It kept testing this 122, like 91, 92 area right in there and just kept bumping along and never could break above that. So one thing that I'm looking for, if we look at the small time frames, you can see on this 15-minute chart and even a little bit better on the 5-minute chart, there's that 122, 90, 92-ish area. If the euro dollar breaks above that, we should be able to grab a couple of pips out of that. Nothing too crazy, but there should be a few pips in there to maybe even trade it up into 123.15. So really just probably a 20 pip trade. So just watch for a quick little break above that. Short-term entry, something to jump into very quickly. So that's kind of one thing that I'll look at the short term. But what I'm really looking at here is more for a break of this trend line. I think the euro is, if it stays below about 123.00, I think we're going to be more in the bearish territory and be looking to test that 122.50 area. So we should have 30 or 40 pips to go from here. So I'm watching this trend line. Again, you can see it on the shorter time frames here. Watching that trend line, looking for a break, looking for a move down. So, getting below this last little swing point here, which is about 122.84, 85, ought to get things going just a little bit. So let's keep our eye on that. Now, we did have a lot of consolidation on this daily pivot, so keep an eye on that. There's definitely some force there. And the other thing to look at here is we have broken pretty well below this trend line right here. We've had an open below the trend line on the 4-hour chart, a couple of opens now. We've had 2 candles open below the 4-hour trend line, so that's pretty significant. That tells me that we have a very, very decent chance to continue lower. We don't have any pin bars, nothing really kind of turning things right there, so we have a nice chance of kind of taking the markets lower from here. So that's where I'm really targeting that 122.40.50, and that entry again will come from the short-term break of that trend line. But again, look for a little break above 122.92 and see if we can get it back up into about 123.15. So we'll keep an eye on that. Quick little look at the pound dollar. We watched this a bit this morning, and it was up and down and choppy and all over the place. But one of our entries from the UK session, from our UK notes, was buy on the dip at the 120 or 156.50-60 area, and it came down to just slightly below 156.50. Or excuse me, 156.60, and then rallied up very nicely for 35 pips. And then consolidated up there and was really chopping around. So looking for a couple of things. If we get an open above this trend line and above where these candles have kind of failed to open and the daily pivot and so on, so that puts us right about 156.95. We may be able to get up into that 156.50 area, definitely having to get past the 157, or excuse me, 157.50, but we're definitely going to have a little bit of trouble getting past this 157.25, 30-ish area, so the highs of the last several days and of last week. So watch for that, but so far there may be a little bit of a trade there. Otherwise, I think if we get a nice little open below 156.60 now, that should take the pair nicely down and give us a good run into kind of the next supports down here. So keep an eye on both those levels. Euro yen giving us a lot of chop around here. Broke the trend line, consolidating just below the trend line. This lets me know that we're probably going to see this thing try to push lower and really actually test this ascending trend line on the 4-hour chart. So I'm going to keep an eye on that, but we don't have quite as clear of an entry on this one, so it might be a little bit ugly. So keep an eye on 96.55. A break of that level, again should give us a 25 to 30 pip run. And even 35 pips into this ascending trend line. As far as the upside goes, we have a nice little double top in place, and this looks like just really a short-term bounce before it continues down. So keep an eye on any pin bars or anything that may line up here, and if we get that, then we'll look for some selling opportunities on that euro yen. But so far, I'd really probably just rather wait till we get below 96.55. Aussie dollar, again from the daily video yesterday, we had a nice little short-term breakout, not unlike the one I pointed out on the euro dollar. And that thing, the entry was right in this area here, and you can see that ran about 35 pips over a several-hour period, so a very nice little runner there. And now we're just back up to this little descending trend line. The Aussie dollar is coming into some pretty big support, and it looks like it's going to bounce on this. So a break of this descending trend line right here and getting above this level should give us a nice buying opportunity, and really just kind of above the consolidated period of these candles, which is about 105.10-ish area. So getting above that should get us on our way to a bit of a rally. But gold and the Aussie dollar have been following each other very, very nicely, and gold is stuck just below 1605. So a break above 1605 should give gold a very, very good opportunity to continue higher, and that will definitely push our Aussie dollar higher. Otherwise, if gold stays below 1605, then we may see the Aussie dollar sputtering out just a little bit. So those are the setups I'm looking for. Make sure to kind of pause and rewind and just keep an eye on these levels, and I'll try to tweet out as many entries as I see, or reminders of some of the entries that I've talked about in the daily video. And of course, as always, if you would like to have a look at how we trade in the live group, you can get a free 5-day no obligation trial at daytradersfx.com. Thanks a bunch, everyone. We'll see you in the chat.